Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Let's just get started. Pending when that will be fixed. Um. Okay. All right. My name is Salim Oyinlola, and turns out I'm a GitHub campus. All right. Can I just carry on? All right. Awesome. All right. So turns out I'm a GitHub campus expert, and then I'm a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador with interest in machine learning and artificial intelligence. Welcome to my session, all right? I'm also a technical writer. I identify as a storyteller. I believe if I were to tell you a story, you'd remember the story. But if I told you a fact, you might forget that. But then stories stick. And I try to approach technical writing as a storytelling experience, right? So I write on everything between artificial intelligence, machine learning, and cloud computing. Oh yeah, I'm I'm Manchester United fan, and I'm angry. Nothing is funny to me. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And I watch sitcoms. So if you have like amazing recommendations, I'm very open. And if you think The Office is bad, don't come to me. Don't come to me. So and I love open source. I love the idea that as a beginner, you can get to contribute to something that impacts millions, or let's say thousands, right? And there's evidence, like you get to work on actual products. You could build a project and then it's just, you're not pushing into production. I think you will agree with me that when it's in production, it's different. When you're serving people, you start thinking from like a business point of view. And that's very important in what we're demoing today. I was going to ask that I was going to add here that I'm a very lazy person, but then I had to send the slides to the guys at Data First, and then they might just kick me out. So I didn't add that there. But I'm really lazy, and that's important for like to add context to the entirety of this session. Okay. So to this session today, we're talking about MindDB, the open source project that lets you build AI models with SQL statements, right? So let's talk about MindDB first as a company. Okay. As a company, they help developers apply machine learning to their data and build AI applications with a virtual database, blah, 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 blah. Then in 2017, they started as a startup no one believed in. How many of us have seen Silicon Valley here? Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much. How many of us have seen Silicon Valley here? All right, awesome. So I think in the earlier episodes, there's a part where some of the characters there, they tried to build, an app that can classify if something is a burger, like a food item, obviously, is a burger or not burger. And obviously, that's very crappy to build an entire complete model on. So let's just say MindDB in 2017. They were no different from that kind of company. People didn't believe in them, right? However, in June, the company was valued at over $160 million. 6 years can do a lot. 6 years ago, dollar was 305 naira. Now it's somewhere more than 1,000 naira, right? So then let's talk about MindDB as a tool. Well, as a tool, it's an automation platform that helps you build AI or ML-powered features, and then it helps you connect with any AI framework by leveraging on your existing SQL skill. How many of us are familiar with the concept of AutoML here? By show of hands. Okay, I see a number of hands. Does someone want to explain what it does? Do you? Awesome.
Okay, so from my knowledge of AutoML, I know that once you don't actually need to do all the modeling from scratch. All you need is just to provide your data and then select maybe a list of algorithms you wanted to try out, and it gives you the best out of all of them.
All right, so the entire point of what he's saying is that lazy people like myself love AutoML. I don't like stress. And that's basically what MindDB does at a very high level. However, as opposed to building with AutoML, perhaps using Microsoft Azure, GCP, or other cloud platforms. With MindDB, you get to do it using SQL statements. I reckon that with Azure, it's just like a graphical user interface, and it's perhaps drag and drop, I think. But like here, we get to write SQL statement like we're going to do later on in this session. All right, so why pick MindDB? I said Microsoft Azure already. I said GCP. Why am I picking MindDB? So why choose MindDB? Well, first of all, it offers a unified deployment and management. That means everything is like within an ecosystem. Then there's an ability to turn every developer into an AI engineer, which I love. Like anybody can just, like, you don't have to learn feature engineering, which can be really, really annoying, right? You don't have to learn none of that with this. Just put your data, get your model, like no stress. Automated AI workflow using the jobs feature. So MindDB has a feature called the jobs features, and it's such that it exists such that you don't have to create a data pipeline with your database. It takes all of that, it abstracts the entire process away from you, and you're not even thinking about none of that, and then you can focus on actual software development, right? Then up next, we have predictive analytics at scale. And these 2 points are really linked together in terms of the enhanced scalability. Now, by the very nature of cloud platforms, they offer two things. Like what they sell to you is like they're just two things. The first one is the pay-as-you-go model, and the second one is scalability. That means when I think about cloud platform, the perfect analogy in my head is a prepaid meter, right? Before like prepaid meters with PHCN became really, or the distros, I think they go by distros these days. Before like the prepaid meters became prevalent, what you used to have is they will send your bills to you monthly, and it's like a rough estimate whether you're home for the entire month or you're not home for the entire month. This is your business. You're going to pay your 10,000 naira bill at the end of the month based on your estimation, right? And this estimation is often based on how big your house is. But then with the prepaid meter, which is similar to most cloud platforms, it's a pay as you go. So if I don't use it, you're not charging me. However, if I'm using it, you're charging me. And same goes with MindDB. So the use cases, MindDB finds application in forecasting. I think Bumi Akiremi had a wonderful session on forecasting yesterday. Classification and regression. Obviously, I feel like fundamental to our understanding of machine learning is the differences between classification and regression. Anomaly detection, recommenders. Yeah, these are the more interesting ones. So with MindDB, you can also build chatbots, sentiment analysis models, you can summarize, you can translate, and you can have semantic search. Now, DNS starts as an open source project that no one believed in. They did. It did. And if you haven't contributed, how many of us has contributed to October 1st year? Now, speaking as a GitHub campus expert, how many of us? By show of hands, please. You're kidding. No, no. All right. So this is the universe telling you that it's time for you to contribute to October 1st. The way it works is you find the repository and then you make 4 pull requests and then that's it. Like I feel like 8 in every 10 people who started open source started with October 1st. And then who knows, you might build the next MindDB and then your company is valued at over 160 million in 6 years or maybe 4 years. You never know. So I reckon that the guys at Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors Nigeria, they have an amazing ML project you should contribute to. It's really, really amazing. And I'm not saying it because I'm an ambassador or anything like that. Like, I give you what this is. So this is your sign that you should contribute to October 1st. So hang around to the end of the session and you might also contribute. Who knows? Time will tell. Now, I've talked about the complaint, and it's almost like I'm an ambassador at this point for the complaint, as if I'm an employee. So I've talked about it for so long. Now, how does it actually work? So let's just walk through the workflow. So the first thing is you create a MindDB account. Okay, 30 minutes. You create a MindDB account. To build AI models, SQL statement, you also have an account now. And the creation of accounts is really simple. You don't have to stress email address, password, verification. You're done. However, if you don't want to go with the cloud platform, I think most cloud platforms that are not like the big ones. I reckon Airbytes, they have something similar to this, where you can work with the cloud platform locally. So you can do that with Docker or Pip. However, I don't like that. I don't like stress. I'm just going to open an account online and then I'll go to work online. I'll go to live there. So the very first thing is just create an account, or if you like stress, you can install MindDB locally. Obviously, having it locally has advantages of its own, right? But then I don't like it. I want to work with it online. Then you want to connect to a database using the create database system statements, right? So yeah, just like there are many other platforms that MindDB supports. I see MongoDB, I see MySQL, I see Databricks, just loads more of database systems you can connect. And what makes this beautiful is that as this database, whatever database you have, as it's being updated, because it sets up a pipeline with wherever it is that it's coming from, it's being updated. Your model is continuously being trained on the incoming data. That sounds amazing. It is amazing, actually. Up next, then you can preview the available data. Let me just see what the data looks like. And this is the SQL statement. We're going to write code for that. Then create a model. Now, import SQL. It's not my business here. Just create the model and then you have a good model. I'm not interested whether it's a linear regression model, naive-based classifier. You don't call me. Let's go to like create a good model with that. Okay. Thereafter, you can check the status of your model. So you're going to get one. You use the statement, and then you either get that okay, the model is being generated, or perhaps the model is being trained, and finally, your model has been completely trained. Then you get the complete statement. Obviously, with bigger data sets, it takes more time, right? But then our data set here is very small, so you know what's happening. We're done. Thereafter, you can make your prediction. Then you can use the select statement here that allows you to make predictions based on features. And then, just basically in Python, it's just when you do after you create your model and then you have the model that predicts, and then you just input your random values there, and then you get your predictions within your notebook. Similar to that, you can also do that here with MindDB. Yeah, this is the part where I said if you hang on long enough, you might be able to contribute. Well, you can contribute to MindDB. Yeah, you can. So it started as an open source project and it is still an open source project, right? So you can always, I reckon that their GitHub repo is MindDB, just MindDB, that's what it is. Then you can contribute, being October for open source. If you're going to leave this session with anything at all, the thing I want you to leave with is that you should contribute to open source. Like that's the only, if that's the only thing you're going to take away from that, I'm okay with that, okay? So trying out MindDB, if you find something that is not right, you can report an issue. You've contributed to open source. If you're familiar with Python, like me, I don't really know Python, so I can't do that. So I'll just create an issue and move. But let's say you're familiar with Python, you can help resolve an open issue. So if someone let's say someone that doesn't know as much like me has created, I open an issue now, then you can now solve that problem. Thereafter, you can help with documentation and tutorials. If you fancy writing, you can do that. And then you can share with your friends and spread the word about MindDB. So fair to say I've contributed to open source. Awesome. Okay, now let's have the hands-on demo. But before that, let's just conclude. So the data set I'm going to be using for this session, let me take out the timer. Okay. So you can just scan this, and then we just get started with the demo. Let me know when you're done. So this Bitly link or like the QR code will lead you to a GitHub repository, and the GitHub repository has two data sets. One is a regression mode. One is for like regression use case, and the other one is for a classification use case. The regression one is used to predict car prices, so based on some features I had created prior to this session, and the other one is to predict whether someone will get admitted into a postgraduate study program based on features like that GRE score, their research experience, and the rest. I feel like postgraduate studies is something that's common among the ML ecosystem or data ecosystem. So that's why I chose to use that use case. All right, so let's get started. So this is the repo the link will lead you to, right? So you could just download any of them. I think I'll start with the car data set. So you could just download it, like just download it basically. I downloaded mine prior to the session, so there's no point doing all that, right? So once that's done, sorry, were we all able to get the QR code? Well, okay. Everyone at the back, were you able to get the QR code? All right, awesome. So back here, you could just try to log in to MindDB. You could just look it up online. So I logged into mine. That's why you have this interface. I reckon that if you haven't, it's quite intuitive. You're going to see like a login button to your top right, and then you log in. Yeah. So here we go. So this is the user interface, and it's quite. I like to think it's quite easy. That's why I love it. I don't like stress. And basically, just to buttress how much I don't like stress, I'm going to work with one of the tutorials. I'm not going to use data sets. However, I'm going to follow through because I'll be honest with you, I can't write SQL. I just can't. All right? I can't. Yeah. Don't catch me. I can't. And then I'll just follow through with this. However, I'm going to convert it to our use case and it will all make sense. Let's hope so. So if I make any mistake, please don't judge me. And if you want to employ me, please employ me still. Thank you. All right, so let's just work. So the first thing is you add your data. Now, normally, as I talked about in the slide, you can have your data sets from your database, but then, please, I also want to upload the data sets you downloaded from the repository. All right, so let's just do that. Okay. So we're going with the car model first, right? So what should we call the car model? What should we call the data set? Salim's car. Salim car. And then let's see if I can continue. So, wow. Now, I didn't write this code now, did I? I did not write the code. It came up by itself. So automatically, once you upload your file, MindDB, I like this guy. MindDB basically just gives you code for you to view the first 10 columns of your data set. First 10 rows, rather, my bad. And then you have, let's run this. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Just hold on. Let's check the documentation because I don't know it. From select files from. Okay. Let's close this. Continue. Yeah, awesome. All right, so when you run that, we immediately see the first, it goes all the way down. So you get to see the first 10 rows. And then let's just talk about the parameters or the features rather. So we have the age of the car, the kilometers driven, petrol, whether it uses petrol or not. If it's a manual car, apparently we have loads of manual cars in 2023. Whether it's the first owner or not, the number of seats the cars have, and the selling price of the car in, I don't know what currency this is. I don't know. It makes no sense. But then that's our data set. All right, so now that that's done, if we can think back to the workflow I talked about, we've seen our data sets, we've uploaded it, we've seen it. Next thing we want to do is create a model now. So let's follow what the tutorial is saying. It's saying train a machine learning model. So let's just work. So I'll just have this underneath. I'll end up taking the one up, I'll take it off, but let's just keep writing under, okay? Oh, thank you very much. Also, I'm not using I thought. Look at me. All right, so create model, MindDB. Let's call our model the car model, right? Okay, so we're not coming from the example. We're coming from interesting. So we're going to call your car. The data set is, what did I call the data set again? I think I called it Salim car. From MindDB create model. And then what we're predicting now is selling price, not rental price. So you want to change that as well. Right? And what we want to do next is your work is done here. Okay, from this, predict this, and let's try this. Okay, apparently I made a mistake somewhere in there. From MindsDB, hold on. Let me just copy and paste the way it says here. So give me a minute. Okay, model. Apparently I did nonsense. Alright, from this, that makes no sense.
Alright, please let me come to the main hall. So the next 10 minutes, we'll be having a very, very simple activity. Right, and then after that, we'll start the next right, we'll be doing this lightning talk. It's really cool thing, right? We love these sessions. We've had powerful speakers today. We've had fantastic audience, and everyone is still very active.
All right. So usually, I'll just try to wrap up as soon as I can since the breakout session has ended. But then at the core, yeah, once you're done with this, you get to predict the selling price, and then you can then input new values here. Now, when you're done and then you have your model working good, you can also embed it within an app. So similar to what you have here, it's a Streamlit app for churn prediction. Churn by definition means the rate at which customers stop using a product or a business, right? So with this, I know this is not good practice, but I can't use my account now. But this is not good practice. I shouldn't normally have my login details here. But what you can do is you can use the MindDB Python SDK to get the model you had created on the cloud platform. Now, the 0 in here implies that that's the first model on your account. So let's say I created 17 models, and I want to use the 17th model. I reckon that this will be 16. What's in the square brackets will be 16. Yeah? And then you can then go on and create your Streamlit app, and it's functional. I think that brings me to the end of the session. Does anyone have any question?
Sorry, so basically you are creating a model using SQL code. What algorithm does your model use? Like what choice from which choices does it make?
That's like so usually, by the nature of AutoML, it gets the best model. Like that's the entire the concept of AutoML, as I think you answered the question at the point, is such that it gets the best model that works with the data set it's given.